conceptual framework about your background, you also think about these things first.
Okay.
Think about your conceptual framework first, and don't think beyond that. It also tells you that your background will talk about all the issues that you have raised in your conceptual framework or in your model specification. If those things, if you talk beyond these things, you are talking trash. We are talking about you, this guy, and myself. Why do you bring in a third person?
Okay.
Background. So you have to take it from there.
Okay.
And remember that your conceptual framework or model specification is influenced by your research topic. Is that not it?
Yeah.
When you saw the research, the characteristics of a good research topic, we saw that at least it should tell us what the dependent and the independent variables are. Is that not it?
Yes.
The key concepts. So in other words, your background must also address all the key concepts in your research topic. So the background must address all the issues in your research topic. So let's look at what will now go into the research background. The background, what will really go into that. We have so many issues to deal with, but to make it easier for us, let's take it like this. So for every research topic, you have your concept. Is that not it? So if you pick the concept, it means that in your background, all your concepts must appear in your background. The topic that we were contemplating on the other time was on what?
My topic.
So I want to make it easy for us. The topic that we were contemplating on the other time, on NGO, the role of NGOs in human empowerment. And then we look at some mediators, community support as a mediator.
Yes.
And then I think, is it gender or cultural orientation as a moderator? We can go through and let's see. What was the moderator? Is it the moderator?
The moderator is level of education.
So level of education. Okay, so it means that when you're writing your background, you must talk about this concept. So what are the concepts? Mention them.
Level of education.
You must have level of education.
Community support.
Community support, good. Support.
Perception of the woman.
Perception of women. Look at that.
I think that's all. There's occupation to an advertisement.
Yeah, but you have forgotten to talk about the main independent variable. The independent
The
variable.
NGO support.
NGO support, right?
The women empowerment.
And then very good women empowerment. So these are the key concepts. So your background must talk about them. If you talk about anything beyond this, it's wrong. That is the first thing. So what do you talk about the concepts? What do you talk about these concepts?
You explain what they are.
What? Have you seen how that research is going to be?
Yeah.
So we have to ask, what do you talk about the concepts? What do you talk about the
You
concepts?
explain what.
So the first thing, you define them. So you talk about definition. Definition, that could be general. You can have the generic.
Specific.
Good. Generic definitions or operational Operational definition is the same as specific definition, operational definition. So let's look at the general definitions. When we talk about the general definition, we are talking about the definition that has been accepted for a particular concept or a variable in the context of the study.
The general definition.
Yeah, the one that has been accepted worldwide,
Okay.
has been approved by all the scholars across the globe. That is what really measures that particular concept.
Okay.
That is the generic definition. Then we also have the operational definition. This definition will be the definition, or is about the definition about what you think. It's about what you think should be the definition for the study. that
Apart
you are
from
doing.
the general.
Yeah, apart from the general one. Apart from the general one. So that is it. So level of education, some of them are not difficult, some are difficult to define. So that is where you have to come and use explanation. You look at that as well. So level of education, community support, you have to tell us what community support is about, definition of it, and perception of women, what constitutes what women, and their perception concerning your topic, which is NGO empowerment. What constitutes NGO support and also women empowerment. You should be able to define all the concepts clearly. Apart from defining them, either is generic or operational terms, you can now come and do what we call explanation. Is that not it?
Yeah.
Explain, explanation. To explain the concepts. Some of them, if you define them, the explanation gives you the room for you, the researcher, to articulate your views about the concept. This person has said something. You are saying that it fixes your study, is that not it? You have to now explain why you think it will fix your study. So explanation gives you the voice. It gives you the voice
air
to talk.
your views.
Very good, to air your views about the concepts that are critical in your study. So that is with the explanation. And your ability to explain these concepts will let your project supervisors and all the other stakeholders know that you actually know what you are talking about. It shouldn't be like a representation of the views of other people. No.
This person said.
What according to this,
have to
according to this, and from the perspective of this, what about you? So the explanation component helps you in adding your voice. And
it doesn't mean that you mention those people, then finally say that, but this is what.
Don't worry, as you are going, you will also learn the art of writing. That is a different thing. Now I'm teaching you how you will do it. Don't worry, when you start working on it, you will learn the art of writing. And the art differs. I've forgotten that I'm speaking P. Don't worry, some of our clients speak P. So if there's a need for us to talk P or speak P, we talk about it.
We will speak every language.
Yes. Okay, so the explanation gives you the room to voice your views about the issues. So apart from defining and explaining the concepts, you have to come and do what we call conceptualization. So another thing you have to do is conceptualize. But the conceptualization wouldn't go for all the concepts or all the variables. will not go for all the variables. With practice, I've seen that most of the research that we do, some of the concepts are higher order concepts. If they are higher order concepts, then they call for conceptualization. We look at that.
So higher order concepts or for
conceptualization. And by conceptualization, we simply means the various dimensions of that particular concept. The various dimensions of that particular concept that we are talking about. Let's contextualize it here. If you take something like NGO supports, or you take a concept like women empowerment, it could be seen from so many different angles, from the literary point of view. It could be seen from so many different angles. And your ability to conceptualize them depends on how prepared are you with your literature review. It is not something that should come from your mind.
you have to search.
You have to search and see how other people or other researchers have seen those concepts and have measured them. So it calls for extensive reading. You can't be a lazy person and be a scholar. They don't move. So before you even pick a concept or a topic to treat them, you must have a fair idea about how the concept has been conceptualized. I was doing a research in the area of supplier development. In the area of supplier development. That is my area of the PhD that I'm working on now. Now, when I've read literature, I saw that supplier development has been conceptualized in so many different dimensions. So I have to go through all them and then pick the one that I think will work for me.
Okay.
But before you pick the one that works for you, you have to expose the other remaining conceptualizations. And this at the PhD level, they will ask you, why is it that they have this conceptualized dimensions of it, but we are using this? So I saw that first. I saw that they have what we call investment-based investment versus non-investment-based supplier development. And people studied supplier development, they classify it as either it's investment-based or investment-based. Other people also did the research and they conceptualized supplier development as tactical or strategic. Which means that supply development, which means that they were now looking at the level of the development. And they aligned that one with the level of organizational management. So they also have tactical versus strategic. I also saw that they have what we call the direct supplier development and the indirect supplier development. So you see, there are other modes of conceptualization. So I had to now talk about all these type of conceptualization and now pick one particular one that I think works in my case. So in my case, I saw that the direct and the indirect supply development works best in the cocoa sector. So I chose that one. So when I talk about supply development now, I'm talking about what? The direct supply development and the indirect supply development. That is how I see it in my context of study. Good. So women empowerment. The other time you were telling me that it has so many dimensions, right? What were they? So
have
women
economic
empowerment, economic empowerment,
If you can, women can be empowered through education.
so education.
You empower women through making them self-aware, self-awareness.
Self awareness. Okay. Assuming that if you read literature, this is how they have seen women empowerment. So that is what you are going to consider in your study. So that if somebody pick your way.
Some people also see it as equity in gender.
So equity.
Gender equity.
Okay, gender equity.
Yeah.
Okay. So some people also see
Women empowerment as women having the same opportunities as men.
okay. Good. So you see that it has been conceptualized in so many ways. So when you are doing your research, you should be able to tell us which of them you are landing on. And that is about the conceptualization. So if you pick some of the variables, it's not all. Some of them you need to really conceptualize them. And you have to justify why you are conceptualizing them in that manner. You should be able to justify that. So definition, explanation, and conceptualization.
So what with this gender, with women empowerment, some people have written about it, and they have said, I've read it somewhere, that women empowerment itself brings development, and we cannot attain, or the world cannot attain, sustainable development fully or have a smooth journey in like pursuing sustainable development without empowering women.
Okay, and that is true. If you look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the 17th Development Goals, gender issues are there. Yeah. And we will talk about it. It is all another background. Okay. So when you, let's not jump the time, you will see, you look at all those things. So you conceptualize them. Apart from that, you have to come and talk about their relationships. Is that
So
not
conceptualization is knowing all the things people have said about the topic.
Yeah, about
And choosing the concept.
about the concept, and then choosing the one that fits your study,
Okay.
and choosing the one that fits your study. Concept like, for instance, film performance. Some people can see film performance as financial performance and non-financial performance. When it comes to non-financial performance, they can look at it from functional point of view, like marketing performance, operational performance, and the rest. So you should be able to know the one that goes in your research context. So next thing is about the relationship. And the relationship between or among the concepts are also tackled there. And in establishing the relationship, we use two main strategies. We use two main strategies to establish our relationships. If you want to establish relationship between concepts, either you use empirical evidence or you use theory. So you see, background will bring some bit of empirical research, empirical findings. It will also bring a bit of a theory. So in your conceptual framework that you have drawn, you don't just only pick up the concept and join them. When we are looking at the foundations of research or the theory of research, he said that the relationship among the concept that you are trying to connect is underpinned by what? The theory. Is that not it? So the theory is reflected at the background through the relationship we want to establish between the variables. So we have two ways to do that. We can bring empirical evidence, or you can bring what you call theory or theories. Or theories. So these are the two means that you can establish relationship. If I got you right, in our mind, you were saying that NGO supports can predict what? Women empowerment. Is that not it? So to establish this relationship between them, you either use empirical evidence or theories to establish that. So let's see with the empirical evidence. When you say empirical evidence, what does it mean?
Empirical evidence is very practical. It's a research which is done on the field.
Good, backed by data. Good. Like your research, for instance, you write the conceptual aspect and you bring the conceptual framework. Now, after that, you go into the real world situation, collect data about the variables that you are interested in, or the concepts, and come and analyze the data in respect of the objective that you have set, to compare whether what you are conceptualizing is what is really on the floor. So it means that when you are using empirical evidence, you have to use empirical research findings that say that, when NGOs provide the support, it empowers what? Women. That's all. So a study by Lawrence et al. 2025 established that giving NGO support to women empowers them. You have linked them. And normally when we are writing, you will not say we are talking about relationship. You don't mention it. Okay. It is you to identify, it is up to you, the researcher, to identify that this statement the person is putting up is trying to tell us that this is influencing that. And that is what we call relationship.
Support is influencing
women empowerment. A study by Gideon, 2024, discovered that when they give support, NGO support to women in rural areas, it helps them to set up their own businesses. It means that we are looking at the relationship between NGO support and economic empowerment of what? Women. So they will not mention what we call
relationship.
If you care to know, when you are writing, you don't say that I'm talking about, you don't mention definitions. But at that point, people should know that you are defining them. At this point, they should know that you are explaining them. At this point, they know that you are conceptualizing them. They know that you are what? Establishing what? Relationships. Very, very important. So that is a typical example of the empirical evidence-based relationship. You can equally establish the relationship that exists between them by using a theory. And the theory explains why your variables or the concept relate.
So when they ask you what is the use of a theory in your research, then you can answer by saying it helps you explain the relationships.
Why?
The need for theory in your research.
So the theory is just there to explain why one concept relates with it. That's why. Why? why one concept relates with another in your research. The theory explains why concepts are related in your research, or why one concept relates with another in your research. So technical term we normally use is that the research underpins the study. Sorry, the theory underpins the study.
Okay.
What theory is saying that if you support people, if you support the less privileged, it will empower them. You may not get it off here because you have not done research on that. If you do a critical, empirical research, empirical review, for most of the empirical research, they mention the theories, so you get to know a host of them. But because you have not done empirical review, it's very difficult for you to know the various theories underpinning them. So, in my supply development example that I gave, I saw that supply development relates with operational efficiency. But the theory I saw is the resource dependency theory. Because suppliers will not spend money to develop, licensed buying company or buying organizations will not spend money to develop their suppliers without getting any benefit. Will you invest your money into helping your suppliers and you not getting anything? So they only do it if that exchange relationship will bring mutual benefit to both the suppliers and then the licensed buying organizations. So that is what I use to establish the relationship between supply development and operational efficiency.
It was when I did the interview that I got to know that even people who give to like orphanages, that one we sit behind, so these people they are doing well. In the outside world, when they do that, I don't know whether Ghana too is there. They are some of the tax that they give.
Yeah.
It is cut off.
Yes.
Because of what they have done.
They get tax relief.
Tax relief.
You think that? So you think that?
So they don't do it for free. When you don't know, you say that they are
good people. They are doing
and
the
some
work.
people too. I learned a lot. Some people, when they give, they expect you to mention their name. Some people too, when they give, they don't want you to mention their name.
So why?
So all
why that?
those people,
Theory behind it. There's a theory behind that behavior.
so many things.
So that is how we use theories to link the two variables. And the theory that you mentioned here, you shouldn't go into details. You should focus on the central theme of the theory. The central theme of the theory, or the aspect of the theory that talks about the relationship between the concepts.
Okay. Focus on
the central theme. On the central theme. Focus on the central theme of the theory. Focus on the central theme of the theory. Focus on the central theme of the theory. Or the aspect of the theory that talks about the relationship. Or the aspect of the theory.
Or the aspect
of the theory that talks about the relationship between the variables or concepts.
of the theory that talks
about the relationship between the concepts or variables. Okay, so that is with the relationship. It is not okay. You know, we are talking about the background, right? So at least by now, there, if people read about your background, if you do this one critically, you might have covered most of the essential things in your work.
So I want to answer, why is it that when they are teaching us in the lecture hall, they don't explain things like you have explained?
For purposes of protecting myself, this question will not be answered. I'm just offering, I myself, I don't teach research. I don't teach research. I'm just offering my services in the way I see it. And that one is structured. This is unstructured. So I have so many ways to kill the same cats. But we cannot underpin them because we cannot undermine them. We are teaching you the writing, except that you the student, is not up to the standard. Because when we were doing masters, and one professor comes to teach us, the issues that he was talking about, the class were getting confused. But because I already had idea about statistics, I was just enjoying. I was really enjoying it. And I got A in that course. I think statistics for business decision also. And I was asking technical questions that the other students were not. So I became number one anyway. So it's not because they are not teaching. It's not because they are not teaching us. But we are not up to the standard.
I know, but it's like, I think at times they make us
This is consulting firm.
too limited.
Remember, this is consulting firm. We teach you to serve your specific need.
Needs.
So all the examples I'm making, with the exception of my case, to make it easier for you, I'm using
You
areas.
teach us for the best in us to come out.
Yes, very good.
And that is how.
But at that level, you're teaching everybody mind.
Okay.
So it's very difficult for you to get everybody to
You
attend.
know what? I also saw those students who were always around lecturers, who were always like they were with them, like serving them. They were better off in research.
Yes.
That one day I can look back in those who as if they don't have anything to do or anywhere to go. Then I can see that whenever you are following somebody, so that was the reward they were getting. Not that they were giving them money,
Yes.
but you see whatever they are doing. If you are not with them too, you will see. You will see the outside.
So
I think
that is the main thing. So they are doing the right thing. Okay, so if you talk about definition, explanation, conceptualization, and relationships based on empirical and conceptual lens, we almost through with that one.
yeah.
But you can add other things. You can add other things to make it more interesting. So you can also think about talking about importance. Is that not it?
Yes.
Importance of some of the concepts. Why do we have to let NGOs go in?
Why the importance of NGOs?
Having NGOs and contextualizing it.
Yeah, NGOs, one of their importance I remember, you know, government is supposed to like fix the needs of the people. And government has been doing it. So, but for NGO, so when you went past a law, or let me say they passed a law to ensure the existence of NGO, ensure their function. So when they came into the arena, they also help when government they came to like support what government is doing to the people. So it's like government can't do everything. That is their rule. Government cannot do everything. So they also came in to support, and they are just, we have different types of NGOs. NGOs who look into education, or who care for women, who care for children, so many.
So the importance, you can look at it in that way. And
then
what is the
types.
benefit? Yeah, and then the importance of women empowerment, importance of community support.
So after we've talked about conceptualization and relationship,
you have virtually covered the most important things, or the vital issues, but you can also talk about the importance of some of the concepts at the background. And normally, when you are talking about the importance of the concepts, it is then that you can link them to the sustainable development goals. If you look at my background, I also link my research to sustainable development goals. But after 2035, you have to set another goal, or new goals, right? So yours, if you look at the sustainable development goals, some of them will be here. So you have to link it. And when you link your research to the sustainable development goals, it gives it international appeal. It shouldn't be like your research is only useful for local solutions or issues. It gives it international acclaim. So it's very, very important, whether you are writing thesis, dissertation, or article, especially articles. My article is strongly linked to that of some of the sustainable development goals. We can have a look at this article. Sustainable development goals. Can we see it? Holding it. God, let's have a look at this. Have you seen it? Yeah. The findings of the study could support the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goal 2, which is on what? Zero hunger. SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. And then SDG 12, responsible consumption and what? Production. Then you tell them why you think it can help. So if the right decision and efforts are expanded by the stakeholders based on the recommendation that will be offered. So in my mind, I know that if they do training extension service for cocoa farmers, if they give them certification, it can help them to produce more, is that not it? And therefore, the food varieties that we can get out of cocoa, we can get it and everybody will get food to eat. So in the long run, what will happen with hunger? To go down. Zero, very good.
My the NGO that doing the work with, their view is to end hunger, world hunger. So that one, can I include it in the concept? Because it's like just NGOs about which kind of NGO.
Don't worry, look at all those things. You can include it. You will see the writing stuff.
Okay.
I've omitted the one aspect, that is the I'll teach you. It's the last thing I'll teach you. That is the opening paragraph.
Okay.
These are where you can put some of the issues to let them know what the research is about. So this is a typical example for you to see. So let's look at how decent work and economic growth works with my study. I'm looking at certification, cocoa certification. And when they come, they give you standards. Is that not it? Don't use unapproved chemicals. Make sure that you have good working conditions for your workers and all those things. And when they do that, what will happen to the work environment? It will improve.
It will improve.
And so you have
the
the
lives
same.
of the people too will improve.
Very good. And that is how it is. Pay them their minimum wage. Don't use false labor and all those things. So that is how it's good. And then responsible consumption and what? Production. If you don't use wrong chemicals, because they are giving you the training and extension services, at the end of the day, you don't produce defective cocoa, which can poison people, kill animals and all those things. So in the end, these are the things, if they use the research, they can really achieve. So the same thing now applies, So now the same thing applies in your work. You have to look at how the NGO support services and how when you find the impact on the women empowerment and the community support, how that one is going to help them achieve those sustainable development goals. So that is it. Then you can also talk about, it depends on the context. Sometimes you can bring about brief history, okay? You can summarize and bring about some brief history about the development of the phenomenon and some of the concepts. You can talk about brief history. You can talk about brief history. Brief history. Talk about brief history. You can talk about brief history.
Of some of the concepts of phenomenon.
Or some of the concepts or the phenomenon. Of some of the concepts or the phenomenon. Some of the concepts of the phenomenon. That is very, very important because it depends on the context. So, issue about NGO, you were making reference to the case of the United Nations.
Yeah.
When they don't give it.
When they, okay.
And even
when they approved of NGO.
And then when they started coming to developing countries, including what? Ghana.
So it's about the
historic
something about NGO.
Good. You can bring it as part of your background.
And the laws that give them
give them the legal backing.
The legal backing.
To operate. All those things could be considered at that place. And you can bring brief statement of the problem. We can talk about brief, some aspect of the statement of the problem in a brief, because you are ending your background. So we are now going to usher us into the statement of the problem. So you have to talk about it briefly, a summary of it, some of the problems that you have identified. Maybe, however, despite the importance of NGOs in the development of women and the underprivileged people, most of the NGOs in Ghana are not doing well. They serve as window dressing. They are taking advantage of the people. You don't invest the money in them. And that becomes a very worrisome situation. Calling for the study to be carried out. Then you end it.
And you are giving a reason for the research.
Good. So that is the next step that we are going to take. That we comes the second step, what we call statement of the problem. We are done